Himani, welcome to the Democratizing SEO podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really great. Thank you so much, Austin, for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you for being on. I saw your profile on LinkedIn, and I thought you'd be a very interesting person to speak with today, I want to talk about where organic content is headed with the release of Google BARD and search generative experience. Just before we get into the main topic, as I like to do with all my SEO guests, I like to ask them how they became an SEO professional. So with that said, how did you venture into becoming an SEO pro?
It's something that, I don't know that how we can become SEO pro, but it's something that, like say, if I talk about my journey, I started with, this, I did my IT, and after that, I, started doing a course in search engine optimization. And when there was a training going on, and that's the, moment where when I got my first job, first SEO job. And it's about that, going forward, I did a lot of, experiments. I tried my hands for content because we saw, I mean, I come from that era, which is pre Panda and Penguin updates.
Right. Yeah.
So we, yeah, so we understand the importance of, content because we saw really bad time at that times, right? So
Yeah.
it was something that, I tried my hands on content, and then, of course, using the combination of, the SEO stuff and the content, the mixture of it, and we started, say, experimenting, and then some of the content started ranking on featured snippets within very less period of time. And it was something that, since then, people have started remembering me as, featured snippet girl. And yeah, so then I was into consulting, and then finally I run my own agency now.
Awesome. We'll get into your agency definitely on this podcast. Would you say you're someone who's more content led as an SEO?
Yes, absolutely. So our niche is content.
Is there a story behind why you focus on content? I mean, SEO is so broad, right? You can have technical, the typical pillars. Why is content your thing?
Okay, so as I said that, there was this experiment that I did in, like, say, 2014 or 2015.
Hmm.
So during that time, I did an experiment where I myself created the content, and it almost took me 21 days to create that content. I was, talking to a lot of testers, software testers, QA, and all of those people, and then I created the content, optimized it, and shared it on like published it on the website. And within, like, say, 4 days, I mean, that content went on to featured snippet just in 4 days, right after getting published. So, that was the most motivating thing for me, that, okay, after like trying for 3.5 years, now I'm able to understand what exactly my audiences expect out of content, and what even search engines expect out of, content.
Mm.
And because, I have seen that shift, like, say, when Panda and Penguin updates came, people were like, super duper crazy, all websites were going down, but so many panelization, I mean,
Yeah.
hell lot of, issues that I have seen during those era.
Hmm.
And that's what, had so much within me, that no, I want to tap content no matter what, right? So, like, I started experimenting a lot, and you won't believe that, I used to write a lot of content just for peanuts, just to make sure that I learn something, so that I can deliver better to, the audiences where I used to do a job. And then it started coming so within me that, I did a lot of experiments for our customers and their customers, a lot of experiments. So, then I got it that, okay, no, writing is my thing. Content is something that, I understand the user perspective. I understand the users, the audience, what they expect, what they want, what they feel when they are connecting with a brand, right? So
Right.
that's something that I started understanding, and that's how, we were like, okay, we are just content led, because that is something where our expertise or experience come into the picture.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, as a content-led person, when you first heard of Google's BARD, what were your thoughts?
Oh my God, that's crazy thing. I mean, especially because we saw ChatGPT, right? I mean, we saw
Yeah.
ChatGPT, and like we all were trying our hands on ChatGPT, and we were like, okay, these are the things we can test, and this is how things are moving ahead in say content stuff and all of those things. And then suddenly there was this BARD, and even after that, it was like say search generative experience, right?
Yeah.
So Bard came as in that, because we used ChatGPT, Bard was like okayish thing for us, that okay, let's see what is going on, what Google is bringing on, and we were just trying our hands there. But it is something that we at least knew that AI is the thing, because before Bard came, Google guidelines included one thing, which was that when the content is AI generated, it is against their webmaster guidelines, right? But
Yeah.
the moment ChatGPT went full fledged, I believe that Google has to update their guidelines,
Yeah.
and they moved from that thing to being manipulative and creating content just to manipulate the sub positions. Then it is not I mean that is when it is against the Google webmaster guidelines, so they also had to update it.
Mhm.
So that's what brought in this discussion as well, a lot of panic as well among the writers, that what are we going to do it, how are we going to survive, how are we going to sustain. So there were a lot of discussions on that what things are going to be, and all of these things. But there was one thing which was very much sure, is that AI is the thing. I mean, if AI has come, it has become so prominent, there is no way that we can stay away from it, or we just ignore it.
Yeah. Right. Now, you mentioned um, Panda earlier. I'm curious, what is your take on the whole duplicate content thing? I mean, with AI pretty much within search now, and everyone using, or should I say, most people now having access to use AI. What's your take on the whole duplicate content issue? Is that still a thing within Google?
I guess they do have it, but I guess with AI is going to rephrase almost every content, right? So
Right.
even
Yeah.
a writer who, yeah, exactly. So even a writer who is creating a content, they know that if they are taking the help of AI, so that is something, there won't be any problem. I mean, so
Mm,
they would be thinking that okay, plagiarism is gone. There won't be any duplication of the content, because if my content, if I'm taking some sources from somewhere, of course if I'll put it on say AI, I mean ChatGPT or Bard, I'll be fine. I mean, it will repurpose the content, rephrase the content, and just give it to me. So
mm.
that will be little bit less issues with duplication thing, because every content will be unique thanks to AI.
Right, but you remember the whole spinning content fiasco within SEO, right? And that most likely led to Panda. Isn't tools like ChatGPT essentially just spinning content?
So yeah, exactly. I mean, that is what they are meant for. They have been trained, right? They have been
Yeah,
fed content to deliver some same kind of content, but say in a different way, in a
yeah.
different tone, different brand voice, right? So it's the same thing. And that is the reason why search engines, any search engines, won't be able to make it as that this is not valuable. But now they will have more elements like experience, the EEAT, elements, right? So
Yeah.
they are going to give more focus on that, that whether a content is providing that level of experience, that level of trust, that level of expertise and authority, then only they are going to give more priority to those content. Otherwise, if it is cliche kind of very generic content, I
Mm.
mean, hardly those content are going to get any value, because even you might have seen that there is a huge index blot issues also going on with
Yeah.
the new websites especially. So
Mm-hmm.
why they are doing it? Even they have become very choosy. Search engines want very crucial and very valuable content only to be going out in their index.
Right.
So they are very keen. They are putting more layers to their identifications of what a valuable content is, a helpful content is. And they are like adding certain, say, algorithm updates and all of those things to ensure that the content that gets indexed is highly valuable. Otherwise they'll just ignore those pages.
Mm-hmm. When you heard of Google's search generative experience, what were your thoughts on it? Are you keen on it?
Absolutely. I mean, initially it was like that, why it is not in our country. So, that made us that, that FOMO thing, that
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to use it? But yeah, I mean, it's something that, any which ways, what they have done is they have put it out as a test program, right? A test thing, which they call search labs. Right. So they are any which ways trying to understand that, how users are using it, how they are, reacting to those perspectives, tab, and all of those things. Right. So search generative experience is something that, I believe that maybe Google might not make it mandatory tab, just like the other tabs that are available,
Right.
like say images, news
Yeah.
and all of those tabs in their SERP features, right? So
Mm-hmm.
perspective will not, I mean, we see it this way, that it might not be as a default experience when it comes to Google search. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they will still continue with what they have at the moment, and specifically it might make more prevalent on mobile devices. That's
Right.
something
Yeah.
that we think of it, because that's where people want instant answer, and they don't specifically need to click on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I'm looking for something, I'm looking for really crisp and instant answer. I don't want to move from one page to another, because on mobile I have very limited time. I have come just for specific answer from search engine, and if
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't provide me, I'll lose it and I'll stop, I'll close the window.
Right.
So that purpose, I guess they will make it mandatory or default experience on mobile devices compared to even desktop ones. That is something that we anticipated.
So when I think of the changes they're making, I can't help but they, as in Google search. When I think of the changes Google search are making, I can't help but think of the, if you like, the macro picture. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the driving force? What is the most influential driving force behind Google making these changes? And one of the things that comes to mind, actually, let me start with that. What do you think is the driving force behind the changes that Google are making?
I guess they were not thinking of such an experience, or maybe they were planning and they were not announcing it or making it public. But I guess ChatGPT made a huge difference,
Mm-hmm.
because ChatGPT came so prominent, and it started capturing markets so fast, because
Yeah.
till date Google has been dominating the entire search market, right? So for them, they have seen almost from, I guess, the Panda Penguin update. Since then, they have been having and enjoying the entire huge market share. And I guess
Yeah.
Bing was not even seen, like it was like much smaller portion of the market. and forget about the other search engines. I mean, DuckDuckGo and say Baidu, Yandex, just forget about them. But I believe that ChatGPT, because ChatGPT came so strong that they were feeling that if they don't come up with something really crisp, really different, and competitive, I guess they will lose their market, or maybe even that's the reason why they got trolled, right? When they launched BARD first, and it started, all the hate around it, that okay, troll is this, I mean, BARD is this and BARD is that. So I mean, like, it got trolled on social media for announcing it very premature product, and slowly and gradually they improvised the product and then they launched it, right? So like, these experiences is something that they want to provide more. They want to sustain their positioning which they have in the market, to help users get the helpful information. They want
Yeah.
to sustain their positioning. So that is the reason then they want that, okay, if there's a competition in the market where they are getting instant answer, and even that is not search engine yet. So it's something that before it captures a lot of market, let us get into it and get something out of it.
When I think of Google search and in search in general and social media, I think to myself, they share a common user base, right? And in my mind, I think Google are being heavily influenced by what's happening within social media. So I'm even looking at tools like ChatGPT as a form of social media aspect, right? In that it's what users, their common users, both search and social, tend to go with. And what I mean by this is, within social media, there is a search aspect, right? The way people search on social media is very much, I believe, leading Google to make changes. And when you think of BARD, search generative experience, all of this is designed to have the answers on Google itself, right? They're no longer, I mean, I'm sure you remember there was a time when Google was considered, not by Google themselves, but by people within the industry, as a type of they were considered like a type of outlet. I forget the term that they use now, but essentially they were a gateway to places, right? But now Google seems to want to be firmly known as a platform themselves, similar to how all these social media platforms are known as platforms, whether it's TikTok, even ChatGPT, other platforms, like I'm not a social media person. What's another platform?
Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I was trying to think of the word Instagram, but I had IG in my mind, and I was like, "What is the friggin' name?" But yes, in Instagram, TikTok, all of the Facebook, all of these platforms, right? There is a search element on there, and the way that people search on these platforms is slightly different to the way they search on Google search. And I think Google is now looking at their user base, which is a common user base that they're serving, both social and search. And they're thinking, okay, we have to cater to the way people search on Google search, similar to the way these social platforms cater to their users. And I think it goes even further than that. I think it goes into the way Google is gathering data, because it's now changed, right? Over the years, they've had over a decade, even 2 decades, to gather data and essentially serve users without the need of having creators, or to find creators in a traditional way of crawling a site, indexing it, etc. How do you think social is influencing Google search?
I guess it's influencing, like, very aggressively, because even I would like to address the talk that I had delivered in last October at Brighton SEO. So
Sure.
my talk was around remarketing SEO. Yeah, it covered things like omni-channel SEO, something like that. So what happens with search nowadays is that search, when someone searches for some types of subtypes of queries, that time as well, that there are some social media posts getting indexed,
Hmm.
uh, before TikTok getting indexed, before Twitter getting indexed. Pinterest was one of the largest and the oldest social media platform that had great visibility on search.
Yep.
So that is, that was one of the inspiration, maybe, or maybe those platforms got late and now they started getting indexed. Twitter was there, but I guess Twitter carousels was not there as a SERP feature. It was that it was getting listed as normal tweets.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment now Google has Twitter carousels, it has even more become more prominent. And even we have seen a study by Brody Clark. He also did an experiment where someone who clicks on the URLs mentioned in that Twitter carousels were affected and were seen on Search Console as well, which means that it was
Right.
counted as organic clicks.
Mm.
So it has become really different since a few years, that now social media has become really, really important, even if you are just in SEO. I mean, it was called that, okay, we are SEOs, we focus on technical SEO, we focus on on-page SEO, and we focus on, say, off-page link building activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But slowly and gradually, they were forced to work upon content strategy and content marketing as well. But then
Yep.
slowly and gradually, there were more roles coming out. There were more job openings on content strategy, content marketers, and all of those things. And then it's something now very different, that now it needs a collaborative approach. So SEO
Hmm.
team needs to work with social media team as well, hand in hand, so that the content that is created for search engines, it is promoted on social media, as well as they get indexed on sub features.
Hmm. There's a theory, another theory that I have, which is around Google search having all the data that they need in the world. And this allows them to go with BARD and curate content, right?
Yeah,
If this,
absolutely. I mean,
if, yeah, go ahead.
no, I mean, it's something that they have been doing this for so long. I mean, they have come up with a lot of sub features that they want it to stay. I mean, featured snippet, right? For which
Mm,
we
yeah.
have done a lot of experiments to be on featured snippets. So they have evolved the featured snippets as well. The primary reason, or primary purpose of search engines coming up with search sub features were to sustain the people on search engines itself, so they
Mm,
get the information on search and they don't have to go to that page.
yeah.
But still, it was something, we have seen many experiments where even if people see it, they do land on the pages that we have planned. But slowly and gradually, now we are seeing many other search features are preventing users from going from going from search to the website.
Mm. Where does this leave content creators then? If everything is being curated by BARD and theoretically Google BARD no longer needs content creators, does this mean content creation is, where does this leave content creators?
To be very honest, they are very panicked at this point in time.
Hmm.
And on the other side, what is happening is, we being a content less led company, we have started receiving a lot of inquiries on content creation. I mean, a lot of people have come to us saying that we need content writing services and all of those things. And we were like, I mean, if there are jobs that in getting affected. We have seen various organizations, laying off their writers just because now they feel that, there was a large team and now they can have, use chat gpt or ai, and they can have smaller teams who can create content, and it can save their time and cost as well, right? But to be very honest, content creators, the need of content creators has become more aggressive, more rigorous these days. I mean, because all of them have tried ChatGPT, all of them have tried Bard, all of them have tried many AI writing tools, right? So what they have seen as, the content that comes from AI, it's almost like nowhere to what the brands want to write for their audience.
Yeah.
Very cliche content, very generic. I mean, no doubt there are many prompts that we can use. We can ask different types of content to get the content as we want, right? But still, there are elements like, say, my own experience. I mean, what is my experience when I go out and strategize a content strategy for a SaaS product company, right? It is completely different. It is my own.
Yeah.
Right? This
Yeah.
cannot come from ChatGPT. ChatGPT or Bard, what they do is they take the data that is fed to them. So they take data from their own models, what they have learned, and they will just repurpose it and write it accordingly. But when it comes to creativity, I mean, like, what perspective I should take for my audience? I mean, there are two different SEO agencies. Both are content driven, but there are high likely chances that one might target local businesses, and other might target, large enterprises. So both can have same type of keyword, but their language, the creativity, the copywriting, all of those can make all the difference.
Yeah. How important in this reality that we seem to be headed towards, how important is branding for SEOs to understand? And well, not just understand, but to be fully aware of it.
Right. And this is the time where branding will become more important than ever. I mean, now we have seen that if someone clicks on that perspectives tab on search, they are going to get the entire answer, and even all those answers will be followed by different set of customer journey stages, right? All the other searches will be will be according to someone's, their own purchasing history, or maybe their purchasing journey, right? So there might be a huge scope of, say, creating content around those, your target audience, the intent of them reading something or buying something or even exploring something. So it will be more into that direction.
And for businesses who, they have a brand, but they may not necessarily be differentiating their brand from others. How important is it to have a content strategist that can understand and get to the crux of a business's brand in order to deliver content that is not just unique for search engines, but unique for users that they want to target?
Exactly. So content strategist, I guess this is the role that will need a lot of creativity, a lot of effort, and brands need to understand that SEOs are not the content strategists. Most of the organizations make this mistake that they consider SEOs to perform the roles and responsibilities of content strategists. If they are going to be the content strategists, who will do the task of SEOs? Right? They have to do a lot of auditing, a lot of say on-site things, building links, building the authority in the market. when it comes to strategist, content strategist has to look at the brand's overall, presence, the positioning in the market, right? So content strategist has to look from that perspective. They have to understand the SEO's requirements. They have to understand the paid marketing channels requirements, email marketers requirements, and all of those things. They have to combine it. Then content strategists are going to identify what type of content can drive value to all of these platforms, so that with limited budget they can drive ROI from all the channels.
Yeah.
So that's something a content strategist can do. Of course, that is not a job of any SEO or any other channel marketer.
Yeah. I always say it's best to have SEO within a business. And what I mean by that is not for a business to go to SEO to essentially do any and everything, which I think is a common mistake that a lot of brands, a lot of businesses fall into, because SEO is so wide and vast. They think SEO can do branding, can be the content strategist, can be the PR person. It's best to have SEO within these different departments rather than these different departments going to SEO for the SEO of these things, if you know what I mean.
That's right. That's right. I mean, these are the common expectations that the organizations and brands have it from SEO, that the SEO needs to be the person who can do everything.
Yeah.
That person should also be the analytics person who go and just check what is happening in analytics. That person needs to also look at content as well. We have seen there are some SEOs who create content as well, because they are forced to do it. Unlike me and my kind of a person who actually enjoys creating content, that's a different story. But there are SEOs who are they are thinking that, okay, there is ChatGPT, there is AI, I can myself create content. You can, of course, SEO can create content, but only if they understand whom they are writing for and what is the purpose out of it.
Yeah,
So
completely
if
agree.
you are able to do the justice, you are more welcome to create the content. But if you are not able to do the justice, you are actually throwing arrows blindly.
Yeah, completely agree. Now, Missive Digital, tell me about your agency, who you are, what you do, and which audience you serve, please.
Okay. So as we said that, we are content-led SEO agency, but we have a couple of more bucket as well with us. SEO and content is something which is our super combo that most of our customers take. And we have other organic marketing services as well, because that is where we use the collaborative and the omni-channel SEO or omni-channel marketing that we do organically. So we have social media marketing, which we only do organic, and even we do email marketing as well. So content is one bucket, SEO, email marketing, and social media. We offer these 4 services to ensure anything that we create, plan, or promote for SEO, it has to be reach to the relevant target audience as well. So it could be any channel, but organically, and not any paid side of it.
Got ya.
That's what
I love that. I love that. Organic all the way.
Yeah, that's right. And when it comes to say niche, then I would say, or the niche that we have is B2B SaaS, software as a service, IT or tech companies. And recently, really recently, but for say 1.5 years, we have also entered into e-commerce as well. Before that, we were not saying that we are into e-commerce, but now we have entered. We have seen a couple of, clients for whom we have worked, and we have seen some really great results. So now we have that, trust on ourselves that, okay, we can do it. And that's the reason now we have opened up that SEO as well.
That's a very diverse mix right there. And creating a content strategy for these different areas, B2B, SaaS, and e-commerce, even those two alone are quite different, right? When people think of content, they have different definitions of content. I'm curious, what is your definition of what content is?
Okay. I really like this question because I think I've learned a lot of talks, a lot of conversations. Nobody has asked me this question. I'm really glad that you asked me this, Austine. And for me, content is a conversation that you do in any format with your target audience. So your target audience could be anything, the decision makers, the influencers, the people who are going to be your teammates, and even investors or any stakeholders. So any conversation, any communication that you do with your target audience is the content in any format, any type, any way, any length, no matter what.
Hmm.
And even let me
Interesting.
tell you,
Yeah, go ahead.
that is what missive means.
Hmm.
So missive means communication, and that's what we
Ah,
do. So we try and optimize the communication that the organizations or brands do with their target audience.
hmm. You mentioned format there, and when I think of content from an SEO point of view, traditionally SEOs will say, okay, content has to be in the format of text copy, right? Because that's what Google reads. They read text. But nowadays, the format of content is, there's a plethora of formats. You have text, video,
Yes.
images, etc., right? How do you
Yep.
determine what format of content should be in?
Okay. So we usually, whenever we start strategizing for any business, what we try and look at is that, number one thing is the queries, of course, the queries that has, significant searches, and whether our target audience search for those search queries or not, right? We try and identify that. And based on that, we identify, okay, these are the questions. We look into the SERPs. What type of search features are there? Right? So
Right.
if some type of content has text and video carousel, or the video serves, we try and create both format of content. First,
Mm.
we will push out the text. After a few weeks, we will push out a video. We will publish that video on that same blog. Then if we see that there are some different type of SERP features available, we will repurpose the same content in different formats, so that any person who is just looking for some information in a graphic format, some information in say 5-minute video, some information in say featured snippet, so at least all of those content topics needs to be there. I mean, one content topic needs to be there for all the formats.
Mm. Are you finding that a format is best for content, or does it depend on various things?
No, it depends on really various things. I mean, even there is
Right.
no one set of process that you follow. It always differs depending on, what the user is expecting out of a topic. Sometimes there is a topic which has different perspective based on the audiences. So if I am searching for something, my perspective can be different. If you are searching for the same thing, your perspective can be different, right?
Mm.
So that perspective also matters a lot, that why someone is willing to read or consume a content. So even if it is, say for example, there are TikTok videos that are indexed on Google, right? So for that as well, it is very, very important that why someone would click and would be inspired to click on a TikTok video and not the other search,
Hmm.
that are other results that are present,
Yeah.
right? So it becomes really, really important that whether when there are such queries, we also look at that whether we need to repurpose it for any of the social media platform as well.
Mm.
So it could be a Twitter post. Even I guess Gary Elise in March or something, he announced that when where there is a huge problem with index bloating, right? So when it comes to indexing, they also look at how popular a website is already. So in
Right.
that case, you can use social media to generate the popularity,
Yeah.
right? So if you have popularity on social media, if your social media content is getting indexed, that is also a different format from what you have created, like say infographics or videos, because there can be long form videos, there can be short videos, there can be many type of content formats depending on the query, the audience expectations, their purpose, their perspective, whether what a brand wants from that content, and
Yeah.
lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, this is why I am inclined to believe that Google search is heavily being influenced by what's happening in social. And even when I think of the way they've moved from, years ago, they had this big rhetoric about they're moving from going from strings to things, right? And in my mind, this is them saying, without saying it directly, that they're focusing more on entities. And they're focusing
Absolutely.
on entities because they're seeing that the sites that they um, regularly show up within Google search are brand, quote unquote, brand led sites, right? And
Yeah,
generic searches, everything leads to the user wanting to know more about a particular brand. So, and this is how it works on
yeah,
social media. People search for a brand, they know the brand slash entity, and then they search for what that
yes,
entity has to offer or say about a particular thing. So it's very much brand
absolutely.
led. And it makes sense to me that even the way Google indexes content is going to be focused, in my opinion, on brand. The more someone is able to have a strong brand, the more Google is going to understand and know about the brand. And essentially, once they have a nice variety of brands, those will be the set brands that they feature within Google search, which is the way it works on social media. The more prominent you are as a brand, as an entity, as a creator, the more you're shown within searches. And in my mind, it's
Yes,
it's 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 leading to a very fascinating blurring of the lines between search and social, yet being very expansive. It's expanding search in a if that makes sense. Because from my point of view, I've
absolutely.
always looked at social media as a fascinating area, because I've always considered the way people search on social media as a very interesting thing. I didn't have a name for it, and even now I don't have a name for it, but I think it's a thing that a lot of SEOs should focus more on, because it's, in my opinion, the future. What is your
Absolutely.
take on all that?
No, absolutely. And what you're saying is very much related to branding as well, right? The more you will invest in making a brand popular in front of your audience, that will impact, everywhere. I mean, that
Mm,
will impact in your more subscribers, that will impact into your more followers, that will
yeah,
impact in your building more trust among your customers, that will impact also your search presence as well, right? So the more
yeah,
you are popular, your entity will become stronger, and you will get all the benefits of, even if you don't have backlinks, for example, or very least backlinks that you have, even if that is happening, even your brand will stay really strong on search. So it's all about how strong and how popular you have created your brand in front of your customers, to ensure that it grows and even sustains for years.
mm. Totally agree. Totally agree. What do you wish every brand knew about content?
Difficult question. uh,
What
I would
comes to
say,
mind? What one thing comes to mind,
okay.
or a few things come to mind?
Yes, I would definitely like to add few things and not just one thing.
Go for it.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I want the companies need to know this. So I'll try to keep them little as possible. So like say, number one thing is that, quality is never greater than the consistency. So say for example,
Hmm.
you have planned a content which is like say to grow your SEO presence, you need to create say 20 content a month or 40 content a month, and in 3 months you want to cover a lot of topic clusters. That is only going to help you in search if you don't compromise in quality of the content. Because
Right.
to be very honest, we have worked with a lot of say companies, SaaS companies, and because they are on the journey to become a unicorn, right? And we have a couple of clients who are already are unicorns. So they have a huge content library, but
Hmm.
hardly a few percentage of content performs. I mean, like, say, out of 350 content, only 50 content will be performing well.
Hmm.
I mean, that too on page two, page three, not on page one consistently.
Hmm.
So it's very difficult because, I mean, to be very honest, being a content led SEO agency, we are just cleaning up the mess that they have created.
Yeah, right.
So we feel that, rather than being so consistent about, publishing, pushing out more content, focus on quality that, okay, even if I create only 5 content a month, but that needs to be really, really helpful to the users with all your experience, all of your expertise, bring in your thought leaders into the content pieces and all of those things. So that is going to make you stand out and sustain for long. Otherwise, you will be like, just today you are on page one, then tomorrow you will be lost in top, even not in top 100, right? So that is one thing that, I want organizations and brands to know. Another thing is that, don't consider cost as the aspect of defining whether we want to go ahead with a content or not, because content is the only thing that can drive all the marketing channels. Imagine if you don't have any
Yep.
email, if you don't have
Yep.
any video, what are you going to do? I mean, your communication, your conversation with your target audience happen with content.
Yeah.
So you cannot consider cost as the aspect of not moving ahead with the quality content and something like that. You need to understand that, if you want to drive a Porsche, of course you need to invest.
Hmm.
You cannot expect Porsche in, peanuts. It can never happen. So
Right.
that is one thing. And another thing is that, be very, very careful when you choose your team, because when it comes to choosing teams, they consider that, okay, I'll just keep one writer, one very junior writer who will help me create with the content, and I'll be okay. No, if you're hiring a junior writer, get a senior writer on top of it, then add a editor as well who can review the content, does the editing part of it, and even on top of them, put a content strategist as well, because content strategist will share all the insights to the writers. So whether you're hiring an outsider, you're outsourcing it to an agency.
Oh, are you still there, Himani? Oh, you've frozen for me. Oh, there you are. You froze and then the line just cut off.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, as we have, these rains going on. So, such things happen. I mean, today I was blessed that at least it was not too much rain. So, but, internet was a little shaky at the moment. And that's how,
Right, right.
things got disrupted.
Got you, got you.
Right.
You mentioned, I'm not sure if we caught the third thing that you mentioned. You had started it, but I think you got cut off in the middle. So what was that third thing
Right.
you were mentioning?
Okay, so the third thing that the organizations or the brands need to know about content is that content needs a proper team, right? So you need a content strategist, you need a writer,
Right.
you need an editor. You also need, if you have I hired a junior writer, you also need a senior writer as well. So you need to have a proper team, and you need to have a proper process as well. So the strategist is going to plan what marketing we are planning to achieve, those goals of marketing that we have. Based on that, they will plan what all sort of content you have to create, what type, where to publish, and all of those things. Then they are going to guide the writers how you need to approach a particular content, whether you're creating a video, whether you're creating an infographic, whether you're creating a blog or a guest blog. It could be anything, right? So strategists are going to give the insights and approach that the writers needs to take up. So this thing will not work too long, like say giving out just the content brief to them and they will just create the content accordingly. No, it is something that now, because a lot of writers have come out, a lot of competition has increased, a lot of budgets has also increased with a lot of competition, right? So now people are going to invest a lot on content, invest a lot
Yeah.
on say SEO. So it would become really, really important for businesses to have the entire content team, whether you outsource it to an agency or you keep it in house. It's on you. But you have to make sure that you have a strategist who plans out everything and guides the writers or the content creators, that how they need to approach that, so that you deliver the value that is required for a particular topic and to a particular audience. So I guess, yes, these three
Right.
things is something, so which is very, very important. Quality over the consistency, cost aspect of the content, and of course the team and the processes that a brand and organization need to have.
Well said, Himani. Thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything you'd like to promote or shout about?
I would like to say that, because there are SEOs as well who is going to, watch this video. There would be content creators also who are going to watch this video. So I don't want to promote anything, but I want to, share one thing that, there are a few things that can help you sustain in your career, out of which two things are very prominent. One is your curiosity of what comes in the market and how you can learn and adopt it. And another is creativity. Keep your eyes open. Think where you can bring creativity, because no tools can ruin your job or take away your job. Humans are going to be there. So if you are going to be just a generic person, you will be replaced by another person, but not by the tool. But tools make you efficient. So use the tools to make your processes, make your say tasks streamlined, efficient and accurate. But make sure that you keep on learning new things, you keep staying curious, and try to bring in more creativity to attract your audience and grow more, and keep the aim of just delivering for the good. So that's what something that I would like to share with all of you.
Brilliant. Himani, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time today. What is your website again? Shout out the URL.
Okay. All right. So my website is Missive, MISSIVE digital.com. MissiveDigital.com. And if you guys want to also say, don't understand what I'm trying to say, go and search my name. You will get the websites. You will get my profiles on Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, and many other places. So you will find that out from there. So don't worry.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Himani. It's been a brilliant talk speaking with you. Have a brilliant day, and we'll catch up again another time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was really pleasure and honor to be with you today, Austine. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks, Himani. Bye now.